Hello student. Today topic of lecture urogenital system 2. Next questions. Overview of the reproductive system, anatomy of the testes, epididymis, vas deferens, spermatid cord, accessory, and third question, anatomy of the ovary, the uterine have the uterus, the vagina, the vulva. You see reproductive system, male and female. This is male reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. The reproductive system, most organ systems of the body function almost continuously to maintain the well-being of the individual. The reproductive system appears to slumber until puberty, after which it plays an important role in our adult lives. Also, male and female reproductive organs are quite different. They share a common purpose to produce offspring. In both female and males, the sex organs of genitalia are divided into primary and accessory organs. The primary sex organs, or gonads, are the testes in male and ovaries in females. Gonads produce the sex cell of gametes, the sperm in males and ovum in females that fuse to form a fertilized egg. All other genitalia in both sexes are accessory sex organs, including the internal glands and ducts that nourish the gametes and transport them towards the outside of the body and external genitalia. The male reproductive system. The male genitalia are divided into internal and external male genitalia. The external genitalia located outside the body in perineal region. This is penis, urethra, scrotum. Urethra, penis, scrotum. The internal genitalia are located in pelvic cavity into scrotum. Male genitalia are treated in medicine too by specialist field of the urology. This you see, this is testis located in scrotum, ductus deferens, seminal vesicle, ejaculatory duct, and prostatic urethra, spongy urethra, and external urethral orifice. Then internal male genitalia include testis, epididymis, vas deferens, ductus deferens, spermaticode, funiculus spermaticus, accessory sex glands, prostate glands, prostate glands, seminal glands, это glandula visculosa, prostate, prostata, glandula bulba urethralis, glandula bulba urethralis, bulba urethralis. Their external genitalia include penis, urethra, scrotum. Prostate gland part, seminal gland on part, seminal gland and glandula bulba urethralis part, glandula. Function of the male genitalia. The internal genitalia are reproductive organs with different function. Testis, formation of sperm cells and sex hormones, testosterone. Epididymis and spermatic duct, storage and transport of sperm cells. Spermatic cord, guidance of spermatic duct and vessels and depth of the testis. Accessory sex glands, secretion of ejaculate and lubricants. The external genitalia are sexual organ. The penis is used for sexual intercourse. The scrotum encases testis, epididymis, the first section of the vas deferens. Vessels, nerves, and due to storage of the testis outside the body, enables lowering of the surrounding temperature, which is necessary for the formation of sperm, spermatogenesis. Testis is egg-shaped and 4-3 cm in size. Testis is located in the scrotum. The testis has pole, superior and inferior, extremitas superior, extremitas inferior. The appendix, testis, located on the extremitas superior. It's rudiments of the cranial ends of the paramesonephral duct. Borders, anterior, margo anterior and margo posterior, fasces and surface, medial and lateral. You see fasces lateralis and fasces medialis. Testis pole, extremitas superior, extremitas inferior, margo anterior, marga posterior, fasces lateralis and fasces medialis. You see testis and epididymis at the lateral aspect. The tunica vaginalis has been opened. This is, you see, lateral surface. This is margo anterior, margo posterior, extremitas superior, extremitas inferior, and epididymis. This is scrotum. This is spermatic cord covered with spermateric fascia. Then testis is surrounded by tunica albuginea and fibrous capsule. Septal extension of the tunica albuginea project inward to divide the testis into 250 and 300 wedge-shaped compartment called lobules. Each lobule has 1 to 4 coiled seminiferous tubules. Tubulus seminiferous. Its actual span factories. Most of the convoluted seminiferous tubule and tubuli seminiferi contorti are looped like hairpin. Posteriorly, the seminiferous tubule of each lobule converge form a straight tubula, tubuli seminiferi recti, that conveys sperm into rete testis, a complex network of tiny branching teeth. Rete testis lies in the mediastinum testis region of denser connective tissue, it posterior part of testis. From the rete testis, sperm leaves the testis through about a dozen efferent ductuli efferens testis. Ductuli efferens testis that enter the epididymis. A comma-shaped structure that hugs the posterior outer surface of the testis. This is ductuli efferens testis. This is rete testis. There's tubuli seminiferi recti. This is, you see, tubula seminiferous. This is septum. This is lobula. This is tunica albuginea. Epididymis. The epididymis is comma-shaped organ that arches over the posterior and lateral side of the testis. This is margo posterior. The epididymis has appendix epididymis. Appendix epididymis. Paradidymis. It's the rudiments of the mesonephral duct. It's secured by a superior and inferior ligament, ligamentum epididymis inferius, ligamentum epididymis superius. The epididymis is divided into head caput, corpus epididymis, and tail cauda epididymis. Caput epididymis, corpus epididymis, cauda epididymis. Two ligamentum, ligamentum epididymis superius and ligamentum epididymis inferius. The head of the epididymis contains the efferent ductus, which empty into the duct of the epididymis. Duct of the epididymis. A highly coiled duct that completes a head and forms all of the body and the tail of this organ. This duct of the epididymis form of the body and the tail of this organ. Head, body, tail. Ductus deferens. Ductus deferens. Is ductus deferens runs with a scrotal funicula inguinal and pelvic section via the spermatic cord and inguinal canal. Vas deferens has next section. This is scrotal. This is canalis inguinalis. This is scrotal, but next funicula and inguinal part and pelvic section. In the pelvis, it crosses over the urethra. This is posterior part, posterior aspect. This is urinary bladder. This is testis. Testis. In the pelvis, it crosses out the ureter before it's attached to the dorsal side of the urinary bladder. Where is expand and form ampulla ductus deferens. Ampulla ductus deferens. Together with efferent duct of seminal gland connects to the ductus ejaculatorius, which finally flow into the pars prostaticum. In the spermatic cord, the ductus deferens can clearly be felt due to its strong muscles wall. Ductus deferens, located in a spermatic cord. This is, you see, epididymis, testis, this is spermatic cord. Well, this is ductus deferens. Ductus deferens. The spermatic cord, funiculus spermaticus, contains the ductus deferens, testicular vessels and nerves. What you see, spermatic cord, ductus deferens, spermatic cord. The inferior part of the spermatic cord lies in the scrotum, and the superior part runs through the inguinal canal, spermatic cord in scrotum, spermatical inguinal ring. Superior part run through the inguinal canal, and obliquely oriented through in the oriented in anterior abdominal wall. The spermatic cord enter into pelvic cavity. Spermatic cord in scrotum. You see spermatic cord. This is testis, epididymis, the male genital organs in situ, right lateral aspect. You see epididymis, spermatic cord, vas deferens, ductus deferens. This is ureter, this is uterine bladder, this is ampulla of vas deferens, this is vesiculus seminalis vesicula seminalis, and it is prostate. This is spinas. The covering of the spermatic cord are connected to abdominal wall, also for multiply layer and scrotum and scrotum. Scrotal skin. Scrotal skin. Next, tunica dartus. Tunica dartus. Subcutis of scrotum with smooth musculatura. Next, fascia spermatica externa. Continuation of the superficial abdominal fascia. Fascia abdominalis superficialis. Musculus, muscles cremaster. Muscles cremaster with fascia cremasterica. Fascia spermatica interna. Fascia spermatica interna. Continuation of the fascia transversalis. Tunica vaginalis testis. Tunica vaginalis testis. Has two lamina. Lamina parietalis and lamina visceralis. Scrotal skin, tunica dartus, fascia spermatica, muscles cremaster, fascia spermatica interna, and tunica vaginalis testis lamina parietalis, tunica vaginalis testis lamina visceralis. Together, layers form wall of scrotum. The content of spermatic cord consists of the vas deferens, and the different vessels, vein and artery, and nerves. Vas deferens, ductus deferens with arteria ductus deferens, and arteria testicularis and venous accessory, with artery testicularis and venous accessory vessels of the plexus pampiniformis. Plexus pampiniformis, nervus genitofemoralis, and vasa lymphatica and plexus testicularis. Plexus testicularis. What you see, fascia spermatica externa, e fascia spermatica interna. This is muscles cremaster. What you see, spermatic cut. You see ductus deferens or ductus deferens, pampiniform venous plexus, testiculary, arteria testicularis. This is plexus pampiniformis. Arteria ductus deferens, this is testis. Epididymis, this is, you see, scrotum. Parietal layer of tunica vaginalis. Next, seminal gland, glandula vesiculosa. The part gland, rest of dorsal side of the urinary bladder. The seminal glands are elongate, oval glands. Its efferents duct combined with vas deferens to the ductus ductus ejaculatorius and ends in pars prostatica of the urethra on the colliculus seminalis. Each secretion form 50-80% of them ejaculate. This is, you see, glandula vesiculosa, efferent duct of glandula vesiculosa connect with ductus deferens and combine with vas deferens to the ductus ejaculatorius. Together, urethra, ejaculatorius, urethra. Prostate glands. prostate glands. The unpacked glands is located below the fundus of the bladder. The prostate has superior base and inferior apex, as well as an anterior and posterior surface, fasces anterior, fasces posterior. It's divided into right lobe and left lobe. This is what left, this is dexter, lobus prostata dexter, lobus prostata sinistra. This is lobus prostata sinistra and lobus prostata dextra, which are separated by flat groove and also divided into lobus majors. Internally, the prostate is traversed by the urethra, pars prostatica, into which it's 50 individual glands each issue secretion via their own efferent duct on both sides of the colliculus seminalis. It forms 15-13% of the liquid volume of the ejaculate. You see, this is urinary bladder, ureter. This is seminal gland. This is the ampulla of ductus deferens, connect with duct of glandula seminalis. You see, this is prostate. This is this is membranous part, urethra, vulva, urethralis, urethra. This is, you see, bulb of penis, prostate. This is, you see, puboprostatic ligament, pubis prostatic ligament. Internally, the prostate is divided into different zones, which are of the highest clinical relevance. Central zone, internal zone, wedge-shaped segment between ductus ejaculatorius up to its confluence, and then urethra. Peripheral zone, outer zone, surrounds the inner zone on the dorsal side like a mantle. Periurethral zone, this yellow color, narrow strip stripe of tissue immediately around the proximal urethra. Transition zone. Transition zone. Both side lateral of the periurethral zone. This is anterior zone, gland-free zone. This is posterior aspect, this is anterior aspect. This is, you see, glandula bulbourethralis. Glandula bulbourethralis are pea-sized glands situated inferior to prostate, embedded into perineal muscle are the bulbourethral gland and on both sides. The individual glands have a diameter approximately 1 centimeter and flow on both sides with a 3 centimeter long efferent duct proximally into the pars spongiosa of the urethra. The mucus of the glands neutralizes of acid urine of the urethra and acid urine in the urethra and lubricate the urethra to smooth the passage of semen during ejaculation. The penis, the male organ of sexual intercourse, delivers sperm into female reproductive tract. The penis consists of a attached root, this root, radix penis, and free shaft of or body or corpus penis, and that end in enlarged tip called glans penis. The skin covering the penis is loose and extends distally around the glands to form a cuff called the prepuce of foreskin. Internally, the penis contains the spongy urethra and and 3 cylindrical bodies. Corpus cavernosus penis, this is dextra and sinistra. Dextra and sinistra. Corpus spongiosum penis. Each of 3 erectile bodies erectile bodies is a thick tip covered by sheets of denser connective tissue and filled with network of partition that consist of smooth muscle and connective tissue. This is the corpus cavernosus penis part and corpus spongiosum penis. This is, you see, this is corpus spongiosum, corpus spongiosum, corpus cavernosum penis. This vulva, this two crus. Glandula bulba urethralis, and you see glans penis. The mid-ventral erectile body surrounded the spongiurethra. The corpus spongiosus is enlarged distally where it forms the glans penis, and proximally where it forms part of the root called the bulb of the penis, bulbus penis. The bulb is secured to the urogenital membrane, urogenital diaphragm, and is covered externally by the sheet-like bulbar spongiosus muscle. The part dorsal erectile bodies, the corpora cavernosa, make up most of the mass of the penis. The proximal ends in the root are the crura of the penis. Each crus is anchored to the pubic arch of the bony pelvis and is covered by the ischiocavernosus muscle. You see, this is corpus spongiosum, corpus cavernosum, corpus part. This is bulbus spongiosus. This is crus cavernosus. Glans penis. Now you see part of penis. This is prostate, membranous part urethra. This vulva, glans bulba urethralis. This is root of penis. This is bulb of penis, crus of penis, shaft with body of penis, latent penis, glans penis. As you see, cavernosus body, corpus cavernosus, corpus spongiosum. Next question, female genital. In the female sex organ is a distinction is made between external genital outside the pelvis in the perineal region and internal genitalia with the pelvic cavity. The specialist filed of gynecology also focuses on with both conservative and surgical treatment of the female genitalia. The internal genitalia of female include vagina, uterus, fallopian tube, and ovarium. The external genitalia of the female include mon, labia majora pudenda, labia minora pudenda, clitoris, vestibula of the vagina, and Greta vestibular glands. Greta vestibular glands. Function of the female genital. Female internal genitalia are both reproductive as well as sexual organ. Ovaries. Formation of the oocyte and sex hormones. Fallopian tube. Uptake of the ovum and the site of the fertilization. Uterus. Development of the child. Vagina. Cohabitation organ and birth canal. The internal genitalia are the sexual organs and serve the purpose of intercourse. Ovarious. Ovary, uterus, fallopian tube. Ovary is a part, almond-shaped ovaries, located on lateral side of the uterus. It covered by peritoneum and lie in intraperitoneal position in pelvic cavity. In female of childbearing age, a distinction is made between a superior pole, extremitas tubaria, and inferior pole, extremitas uterina. The ovary has medial and lateral surface, circuit to the anterior border, as the peritoneal duplication is mesovarium, margomesovarium, margomesovaricus, while the posterior border remains free, margolibera. The vessels and nerves enter and exit at the hilum of the ovary. And this is, you see, medial surface. Extremitas ovaria, extremitas tubaria, extremitas uterina, and margolibera, margomesovaricus, hilum in ovary. This is, you see, libera and margolibera, mesovaricus. This is, you see, surface medial, this fallopian tip. This is uterus, this is vagina. This is ligamentum. The ovary is surrounded by fibrous capsule called the tunica albuginea. The tunica albuginea is covered by simple cuboidal epithelium called epithelium germinalis, geminal epithelium. The main substance of the ovary is divided into outer cortex and an inner medulla. The ovarian cortex houses the developing gametes, which are called oocytes. All oocytes occur within sac-like multicellular structure called follicules, which enlarge substantially as they mature. In human females, generally one or occasionally two follicula mature each month. Thus, only one or two oocytes develop each month. The part of the cortex between follicles is a cell-rich connective tissue. The deep ovarian medulla is loose connective tissue containing the largest blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatic vessels of the ovary. These vessels enter the ovary through the hilum, a horizontal slit in anterior ovarian surface where the mesovarium attaches. The ovary is secured by two suspensory ligaments. Ligamentum ovari proprio. Is attached to the extremitas uterina and connects the ovary at the uterus. Ligamentum suspensorum ovari connects the ovary from the extremitas tubaria outward with lateral pelvic wall. It gives the arteria and vena ovarica, artery and vein ovarica, passes through ligament of ovary. Fallopian tube. The fallopian tube, tuba uterina, sulfings, connect the ovary and uterus. It's 14 centimeter long and has various sections. Infundibulum, tuba interna, 1-2 centimeter long, has in aperture to the abdominal cavity. Ostium abdominale tuba uterina and finger-like processes, fimbra tuba uterina for receive the ovum during ovulation. Next part, ampulla tuba uterina, ampulla tuba uterina, 7-8 centimeter, runs in arch shape around the ovary. Next, isthmus tuba uterina, 3-6 centimeter, constriction at passageway to the uterus. And next part, intramural section, pars uterina, 1 centimeter long, run into the uterus. Repeat, infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, and pars uterina, intramural section. What you see, this is ovary, this is fibria, this is infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. This is fallopian tube, fundus of uterina. Uterus, this is uterus. The uterus lies in the pelvic cavity, anterior to the rectum, and posterior superior to bladder. It is a hollow, thick walled organ whose function are to receive, retain and nourish fertilized egg throughout pregnancy. The uterus is 8 cm long, 5 cm wide, and 2-3 cm thick. It has variable weight of between 30 and 120 grams, which reaches up to 1 kilogram in pregnancy and greatly diminishes with age. This is uterus. This is ostium uteri. Ovarium. Uterus is divided into body, corpus uterine, fundus uterine, isthmus uterine, neck, cervix uterine. The inferior tip of the cervix project into vagina. The cervix forms a tough fibrous ring that keeps the uterus closed and the fetus within it during pregnancy. What we see, ovarium. This is fallopian fallopian tube. This is uterus, fundus. This is body, isthmus, cervix. This is vaginal portion of cervix and vagina. This is, you see, this is labium minus and hymen and vaginal orifice. The uterus has an anterior surface, fasces anterior or vesicalis, which point to the urinary bladder, and posterior surface, fasces posterior or intestinalis, which has contact with rectum. The anterior of peritoneal cavity sink into depth between this excavator, vesico, uterina, and posteriorly as excavatio rectouterina. In the normal position, the uterus is curved forward toward the vagina. Anteversion, and the body is bent backward toward the cervix. Anteflexion. This position has a protective purpose and prevents the uterus from being evicted out of the vagina in the case of an increase in intra-abdominal pressure. The space inside the uterus is divided into cavitas uteri in the body of the uterus and into the cervical canal, canalis cervicis uteri, in the cervix. The cervix runs with its posterior section via the external uterine orifice, ostium uteri, into the vagina, potio vaginalis cervices. The superior section, which begins at the isthmus with the internal uterina, uterine orifice, is the potio supravaginalis cervicus. The internal uterine orifice and external uterine orifice between cervical canal. The external uterine orifice is bounded by anterior and posterior lip, labium anterius et labium posterius. The wall of the uterus is composed of three basis layers. At outer perimetrium, peritoneal lining of the uterus. Middle myometrium, smooth muscles of the uterus. And inner endometrium, mucosal membrane of the uterus. This is, you see, mucous membrane. This is body, uterus, body. This is neck, column, bodies, cervix. This is vagina, ovarium, fallopian tube. Suspensory ligaments of the uterine. The two sections of the uterus have various suspensory ligaments which have clinical relevance in gynecological operation. Corpus uteri, ligamentum latum uteri, mesometrium, formed together with peritoneal duplication of the adnexa, mesosalpinx, mesovarium, mesovarium. An anteriorly positioned fold in lesser pelvis which covers the body of the uterus, fallopian tube and ovary thus lie in the inner and intraperitoneal. Ligamentum latum uteri include mesometrium, mesosalpinx, mesovarium. Ligamentum teres uteri Clinical term, ligamentum rotundum, connective tissue condyle which runs from angle of the uterine tips anteriorly to the lateral pelvic wall and through the inguinal canal to the labia majora, where it inserts into the skin and adipose tissue. Its purpose is to stabilize position of the uterus. This is ligamentum teres uteri. Ligamentum teres uteri. Cervix uteri, ligamentum cardinale, ligamentum transversus cervicalis, ligamentum cardinale, ligamentum transversus cervicis, connective tissue strands from the cervix laterally to the pelvic wall, also referred to as parametrium, ligamentum recto uterinum, A clinical term, ligamentum sacro-uterinum. Connective tissue strand from the cervix dorsally around the rectum and up to sacrum. And the next ligamentum puba cervicalis, ligamentum puba cervicalis. Located in area. Ligamentum puba cervicalis secures the cervix ventrally at the pubic bone. Vagina is a hollow muscular organ with length of 8-10 cm and lies in subperitoneal position. The vagina lies inferior to the uterus, anterior to the rectum, and posterior to the urethra and bladder. The vagina has anterior and posterior wall, paries anterior and paries posterior, because the uterus is tipped forward anteversion. The posterior wall is longer than the anterior wall, and posterior vaginal fornix is higher than anterior section. This is fornix. Posterior wall is longer than anterior wall, and the posterior vaginal fornix is higher than anterior section. Caudally, the vagina opens to the urethra into vestibula of the vagina, vestibulum vagina, which is counted among the external genitalia. Before the first occurrence of sexual intercourse, this connection is closed by a remnant of the hymen, vagina. Vulva. The mons pubis, which is covered by pubic hair after puberty, runs down into labia majora pudenda, which unit ventrally and dorsally, commissura labiorum anterior and posterior. The approximately 3 cm long cavernosus bodies of the vestibula are embedded on both sides into the labia majora, bulbus vestibule, and behind this into vestibular glands, glandula vestibularis major, Bartolini, and minores, clinical term, Bartolini glands. We see ostium urethra externum and ostium vagina, vestibula vagina, labio minus pudendi, labio majus pudendi, ripidendi, English, Latin pudenda. Located between the labia majora are the labia minora, between labia majora and labia minora, which encompass the vestibula of the vagina. In front, the labia minora run with a regia of tissue, frenulum, clitoridis, to the glands of the clitoris, as well as prepuce, flowing into the vulva, vestibula vagina dorsal, urethra dorsal, ventral, then urethra ventral, vagina dorsal. Approximately 12 to 5 cm below clitoris. The efferent duct of the Bartolini glands. Bartolini glands. Preputem clitorides. Crenum clitorides. The clitoris is a sensory organ for sexual arousal and 3-4 centimeters long. The clitoris consists of the two cavernosus body, which are sheathed by fascia and made ventrally into short body, corpus clitorides. Corpus clitorides. In which they remain separated by the septum corporum cavernosus. This is corpus cavernosus clitorides, glans clitorides. Septum corporum. Caudally enjoying in the glans clitorides, which is covered by preputium clitorides, crura clitorides. The corpora cavernosus gives way dorsally of the body to the crus of the clitorides. Crura clitorides, which are anchored to the inferior branches of the pubis bone. The crura are surrounded by the musculus ischiocavernosus, the bulba musculus bulba spongiosus, stabilizes the bulbus vestibule, which thus, as a cavernosus body, correspond to the corpus spongiosus of the penis. Student, thank you for attention. Goodbye.